Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, coming at you with another update video. Please pardon the voice if it sounds a little weird. I'm going through a bit of a cold right now, got the sore throat and the nasally congestion, that kind of thing. It isn't going to stop me though, it just means that recording might sound a little weird for a few days. Anyway, the typical shill, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've broken 21,300, so that's pretty awesome, right? I mean, I think that's a great milestone met, and we're just moving right along. I'm really excited to see how much further we can go. Don't forget to like and comment on the video. Let me know what you think. I always read the comments, and we'll talk about that a little bit more a bit later. So let's get right into it. So let's start with the personal, because you guys have told me before, hey, we like to keep up with your personal life, know kind of what's going on in the world of Raven. Well, I'll tell you a little bit. I won't deny, guys, aside from just the cold and allergy thing, things have been kind of disappointing lately. The Bible study thing that I do every Thursday, we've had to cancel that. We've had to just cancel that indefinitely, because here's the thing. The past 2 nights, you've noticed that I've kind of streamed a bit early, and that's because we've had to cancel Bible study those 2 nights, because what happens is Lark, he sends out a text to the church group and says, hey, we're having Bible study tonight. Let us know how many people are coming so that we can know how much food to make or how much food to order, and how many people are going to be able to participate, that kind of thing, because we treat it kind of like a social gathering too. And each time we've gotten messages saying, oh, I've got this thing going on. Oh, I can't make it. Oh, we've got this. Oh, this came up. And the first night I kind of thought, okay, maybe something was going on. But then the next night, everyone said that they couldn't make it. And a few of them we knew, they don't have obligations tonight. And then the very next night when my brother holds his D&D stuff, apparently 3 of the ones who said that they couldn't come yesterday were fully capable of coming. And Lark and I sat down and we said, man, one of 2 things is going on. Either people are just too busy to come on Thursday nights, or they've lost interest. Those are the 2 options. If they've lost interest, then that's really disappointing, and I'm upset about that. But there's no reason to keep trying if they've lost interest. And 2, even if they have just gotten too busy and they really do want to come, just can't, then we still need to cancel anyway, because what's the point in having it scheduled if they're not going to be available? We'll have to pick another day that'll work. And Lark said, I hate it, but I agree, we're going to have to do that. So we sent out the announcement that we're going to cancel. And what really broke my heart was only one person texted to let us know that she was sorry she couldn't come. She texted Lark directly and said, hey, I'm so sorry. I know that y'all put a lot into this, and I'm sorry that people weren't able to come. The rest really didn't have a response, and that was disheartening. It was disheartening mostly because I put a lot into these Bible studies. I really, really do. And I mentioned this in my last stream, and someone said, why don't you try doing them online? And that's a thought. I hadn't considered that. I will need to think about that. That is a actual option that I haven't considered, but there's a lot of steps that I need to go through before I can set that up, and I kind of want to do it with the church's blessing. So I kind of want to talk to them about it first, but we'll see. But anyway, that's all well and good. We'll put that behind us, right? So let's get on to the other stuff you want to hear about. So For Honor. What's going on in my world with For Honor? Well, I got some stuff to show you, but first of all, the Zhang Jude vid is out. And that's received a mixed response. Usually when I release a Heroes in History, there's a lot of, oh, this was so interesting, or, oh, I did a great job on this, or, oh, Raven, did you know about, or Raven, I think that we could have added, or stuff like that. There was one comment in particular that kind of stood out to me, because all it said was, this looks like stuff I could have just Google searched. Let me be clear. I want to be very fair here. The Zhang Jun information I got, I did not get from a Google search. I did go through different sources. I read The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I looked on a few academic articles and historical articles. I read one of my Chinese textbooks. And yes, I even went to the dreaded Wikipedia page about Guan Yu. I looked through a lot of different stuff. When I was looking through all that stuff, that was when I was forming my 3-part series on Guan Yu. And then when I was making this video, I went back to my 3-part series on Guan Yu and just jotted down notes of things that would be good to add to the video. Because what I was doing here, because people pointed out, Raven, you kind of already did your Zhang Jun Heroes in History when you talked about Guan Yu in that 3-part series. And you're right, technically, but I didn't want to just skip Zhang Jun for that reason. So I said, tell you what, I'm just going to take what I put in that 3-part series, condense it down into a much smaller amount, put it in this video, actually put the 2 together and compare Zhang Jun to Guan Yu, and have my meme montage. That was my goal. That was what I wanted to do. If that's a problem, I am sorry, but that's what I wanted to do with Jean June. I feel proud of what I did with it. I worked really hard on it. I think the meme montage was fantastic. I had a great time putting it together. I think that the information was solid. I thought that I put it together in the best way that I could. There are some people who said that I mispronounce cow cow as chow chow too often. I'm sorry. Chinese pronunciation is not my forte. I apologize for that. It's something that I need to work on if I want to get better at the language, so I do apologize. But other than those small pronunciation errors, I felt like I did the best that I could with this video outside of just copy and pasting everything that I said in my 3-part series into the video. And if you want to watch the 3-part series, I left the links to all 3 videos in the description of the video. So I hope you'll watch it. I hope you'll enjoy. I did get one person saying that they didn't think that Guan Yu should be considered the best general in world history. Debatable. I was speaking a little bit hyperbolically there because, you know, I'm a very dramatic guy, but still, fair points. Just this video came out a little differently than I thought it would. I'm still very proud of it, just a little surprising for me. Now, For Honor and Glory is almost done. I'm almost finished with the next chapter. I'm going to try to record it if my voice will let me because, as you can probably hear, my voice isn't 100%. Maybe I need to wait a little bit for my voice to get back to normal before I try, but it is almost done. I'll be able to read it out soon. Also, the Bao Shin video. The next Legends video is going to be on Bao Shin because everyone likes seeing Bao Shin in Revna's video. Now I think they want to hear Bao Shin's actual story. I was very clever about that, right? Yeah, see, I added Bao Shin in Revna's story. Don't get me wrong, Bao Shin was already in Revna's story, but I knew that if I told Revna's story and y'all saw Bao Shin, you'd go, oh, who's Bao Shin? Now I can talk about him. So no need to even worry about a poll. I'm going to talk about my Shaolin. Anyway, another video that I've been thinking about, this is a thought that I want to talk about. This is kind of a debate ever since, you know, the fantasy elements have kind of become a recurring thing in For Honor. For Honor and the supernatural. I want to do the short video on that. Like, can For Honor have supernatural elements and still work? I mean, obviously it wouldn't work too much as a historical video game, but would it still work in context of what the game has provided? Like, given what Apollyon's given, Astria, Griffin, all the named characters, given what the lore has provided up until these recent seasons, would the supernatural still be something we could consider useful or enjoyable in For Honor? And it's just a discussion video. It's just a perspective that I have. I know that a lot of that is subjective, and I probably need to do a video on subjectivity versus objectivity sometime. I don't want to step all over Mahler's toes, but you know, he does a great job talking about that. But I want to give my thoughts on that too, so we'll see. And before I move on, I want to show you this clip. When I was trying to get the footage for JJ's video, I ran into one of the worst experiences I've ever had with an Orochi ever. I genuinely, Ubisoft, if you watch these videos, I'm begging you, do something about this. The fact that this Orochi could get away with this as much as they did, wow. Okay, just please watch and see. Yeah, and I know what some people are going to do. You're going to go to the comments and say, Raven, all you had to do was... That's not my point. Even if there is a way to counter it that I didn't see, the fact that an Orochi can get away with that is abysmal. that would be like giving a Peacekeeper infinite stabs into the gut on a successful guard break. She only gets 3. She doesn't need to be able to do it multiple times, you know? I feel like the fact that this can be spammed so incessantly without much stamina cost, or the fact that they can just do it incessantly and when their stamina does run low, do a Ki to drain your stamina to buy them time to do it again. Ugh, it's terrifying. I won't deny that I'm not the best player, so a lot of this is my fault for not being a top tier player, but the way this went down, I was kind of like, wow. Whatever. Anyway, let's move on from For Honor. Let's go into Dead by Daylight. What's going on there? The Mother video. I really am proud of what I did with the mother video. I thought that the bio came out well. I thought that the power was creative. I thought that the perks were cool. The only real criticism I got from the mother that I really thought was helpful for me was I got a criticism from one person who said, while I think the mother's power is good, it doesn't help her in the chase. It will help her locate survivors and discourage altruism, but she's going to run into serious pallet looping problems and serious abuse in the chase. You're going to need something that's going to help her. Like, take the pig, for example. The pig may be able to put down reverse bear traps on survivors, but that's not enough. She needs the pounce, too, to help in chases. So definitely I see that, and that is something that I need to think about. I'm going to work on an idea for that, and I may add that later. So really appreciate that. But others, I got some comments like, this doesn't seem original to me, or I think that this is really weird, or something like that. And I'm kind of like, I thought that it turned out good. I think that the mother's a really cool sounding hero. I really liked working on her story. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video where I talk about the survivor to go with her. And who knows, maybe it'll be your son. Maybe it'll be Daniel. I don't know. But other than that, the Onryo video will be done by next month. I want to get that out next month. I really am looking forward to it. I've got all the footage I need. I just got to sit down and type it up. I just got to type up my script for writing out the analysis video. And then this is something that I want to talk about. This is just something that I'm probably going to do a rant about later, maybe do a dedicated video on. It's something that I see pop up in the Dead by Daylight community a lot, especially from survivors. Killers say it too, but especially from survivors. It's this thing that I call the rule of fun, where survivors will say, hey, these things that some killers do, they're not fun for us. It's just not fun. And I think that line of reasoning is a little weird. I also got a comment on my mother video, actually, where someone pointed out, I argued in the video, I did say this, I argued that one thing that I don't like that survivors tend to do is if they're winning, if they've got a lead, like if they're done with all their gens, they've opened the exit gates, they're going to just stand in the exit gates, butt dancing, taunting, flicking their flashlights, just having a good old time because they know there's nothing I can do and they're going to taunt me. And I said, I hate it when they do that. So this person commented, yeah, I get why you might hate that, but you got to recognize they've had to deal with toxic killers. You should allow them their victory lap. I hate that line of logic so much because the rule of fun basically says this: you must consider my fun. And my response to that is, when have you considered my fun? Like, I can't tunnel, camp, or run certain perks or add-ons. Okay, do you think it's fun for the killer when you flashlight spam them? Do you think it's fun for the killer when you drop a pallet on their head? Do you think it's fun for the killer when you butt dance them behind a pallet? Do you think it's fun for the killer when you body block them at a hook or sabotage a hook in front of them? Do you think it's fun for the killer when you decisive strike them? Or jump out of a locker over and over again just to lure them over so that you can draw them away from what they're supposed to do and then head on them? You think that's fun for the killer? Am I allowed to say, hey, you can't do that stuff. That's not fun for me. Of course you'd say, but those are just tactics that the survivor can use. You're exactly right. They are, which is why I don't make that argument that you need to consider my fun. I make my own fun. Fun is something I have to be concerned about. But again, I'll save all that for another video. I think that that's something that I really want to dive into. And in this video, I will give examples as to what I'm talking about from both sides of the aisle. I will give both sides their credit because I think there is an argument to be made from both areas, survivor and killer, for toxicity versus non-toxicity, why this fun argument doesn't quite work. This is something that I do really want to talk about. Anyway, guys, that wraps up the Dead by Daylight part. Let's move on to the other parts that I want to get into. The Prince of Egypt video is on a temporary pause. I've just got to give it some time. I'm doing a little extra research because there's a lot more to the Passover that I really want to get right. Also, The Way of Shifu is in progress. Took me a little while to get to it because I had to rewatch Kung Fu Panda. I forgot a lot of scenes, so I want to take my time with that. And also, new art from Jay and Hannah. Got some really nice art, including Jay drawing a lovely image of the next of one of the Troy and Frost chapters coming up in the future. Troy meeting with a detective to talk about something. I think you'll like it. And if y'all, I hope y'all liked the recent Troy and Frost chapter. By the way, really on a roll with that. I've been having fun with that. But yes. Big thanks to Hannah and Jay, and also those of y'all who got to hear Hannah on the recent live stream. I hope you enjoyed hearing from her. We might have her back on again. Hey, if we can get Jay on sometime, I think you'd love to talk to him too. He's really fun to talk to, very interesting fellow. Would love to invite him on sometime. All right, so now on to writing things. Fantastical History is coming back with Fantastical History Fairies. We're going to be talking about fairies and fieries and stuff like that. I think you'll like that. I think it'll be creative. And then we're also doing another Raven's Writing Room. I've decided on what it's going to be on. It's going to be on cause and effect. This is something that I think that a lot of new writers get wrong. This is something that I want you to remember. Stories are not about what ifs and because ofs. It is cause and effect. And here's what I mean by that. Every story, everything that happens should be, because this happened, this will happen. As a result of this happening, this will happen. Instead of, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. We'll get into that. But just know, cause and effect is the key to plot writing, and we'll talk about that. Now, finally, you've been waiting for it. It's time for the Ravens rant of the day. For today's rant, I'm going to keep it as short as possible, guys, but I want to talk to you about something that came up recently. I released a post lately about the new Thor trailer, the Thor Love and Thunder trailer. And I said in my post that I thought it was horrible. And I got a lot of responses saying, oh gosh, Raven, that's cringe. You posted cringe. This was awful. I took down the post because, you know what? That's fair. I shouldn't just post my immediate gut response. I need to think on it a while and then give you my full thoughts. After thinking on it and rewatching the trailer a few times, my position hasn't changed. But instead of just saying I think it's awful, I want to explain why I don't like it. And it's going into a larger point. When I think about the three big Avengers movies, like the build-up to the Avengers movies, you've got Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. Those are the three big ones in my heart, because each one tells a story of a character progressing, changing from one point to the other. And Thor was by far my favorite. It reminded me a lot of Simba from The Lion King. You know, you've got this upstart prince, destined for greatness, destined for power and privilege and kingship, and he thinks because he has that, he can do whatever he wants. No one can stop him. He can do what he feels like. He can beat up who he wants to. He has power, and he's going to flaunt it. But through that, he gets banished. He gets humbled. He has to live among the common man. He has to feel what it's like to be weak and mortal, and through that, he comes to respect his power more. Also, he comes to respect his position more. And over the course of his three movies, he learns what it is to be king. He learns traits about himself, traits about what it is to be an Asgardian, traits about what it is to be a ruler. He has to learn that he's not just the god of hammers, he's the god of thunder. He has to learn that a country isn't about the buildings or the cities, it's about the people within it. He's learning how to become a better ruler, a king. Which is why so many people were upset at the end of Avengers Endgame, when they kind of strip Thor of that and say, oh, he's not going to be king anymore, he's handing it over to Valkyrie. Valkyrie? Why Valkyrie? I guess because she's a strong fighter and a woman, and go women, I guess. But what did she show in her character that made anyone think she could be queen of Asgard? I mean, Thor had 3 movies to establish what he was learning and doing to become king, and he just hands it over to her, who we barely know? What kingly qualities does she have? Where's her progression or her character traits that tell us she should be queen over Thor? It doesn't make sense, and a lot of people agreed. But you know what? I gave it one caveat. I gave it one out. Maybe Thor's thought was, because I have so much power, I have to take responsibility to that power. I can't be king of Asgard. I have to be a hero to the galaxy. So I'm going to travel with the Guardians of the Galaxy and help protect the cosmos, because that's what I should do with my power. And I thought, that's not what I wanted to see, but I could understand that mindset. So I was willing to give it a pass. But then I see this trailer, and what does Thor say? My superheroing days are done. My superheroing is over. What? So you're not even going to be a hero? You're not going to be king, and you're not going to be a hero? We literally see him burying the axe. When the others run off to go do some fighting, he walks away. And I thought, this is not the Thor I expected to see. I thought we were going to see him saving lives, protecting people, maybe learning about the responsibilities of being a protector to the cosmos, about being a god. You know? But then in the end, we see female Thor show up. And I thought, oh, this is why. He has to step down from kingship to hand it over to a woman. And now he must step down from superheroship to hand it to a woman. Well, where does that leave Thor then? Where does that leave the character progression and character arc of a character who I was really itching to see come full circle? I wanted to see this prince who did not understand one thing about being a king learn to become a greater king than his father. Instead, I see a prince who didn't know a thing about being king and didn't want to take any responsibility to his power, learning how to take responsibility only to drop it all again because it was too heavy for him. And some might say, oh, it's unique. It's a version of expectations. You didn't expect Thor to let go of all of his progression. You know what? You're right. I didn't expect that. But subversion does not equate good. People think that just because something is subversive or different means it's automatically good somehow. That's not true. Subversion just means you don't expect it. But good subversion means that the outcome you didn't expect is just as good, if not better, than the outcome you did expect. And this is not better. This is not better. It is literally character assassination. You took the character who was learning to be responsible to the powers he had and the responsibilities he had, literally dropping all those things. Because why? Because he's just not capable? Son, you're supposed to learn to be capable. The Thor we started with, the Thor that tried so hard to save his brother, tried so hard to save and rebuild Asgard, learned that he was not the god of thunder, not the god of hammers, but the god of thunder. The Thor who I fell in love with over the course of his 3 videos and wanted to see become king, this is not him. I don't know who this is. Now, the story might turn out better than I think. I think the one way this movie could turn out good is that this whole movie is basically his Hakuna Matata. He's run away where there's no worries, no responsibilities, and he's going to learn eventually that he has to take responsibility. So he has to take up his axe again, go home, and take over Asgard again and become king. I hope that's where we get that. I hope that's where we end up. I hope that's what happens. I hope that he realizes, you know what? I have to take responsibility. And he goes back and becomes king and then hands off the superhero duties to female Thor. If they do that, I'll forgive most of my issues with the movie. I'll say, okay, you know what? Not the way I thought it should go, but at least you got there. At least you finished off stronger than you could have. But I'm sorry, we don't see Thor fighting, we don't see Thor doing anything superhero work, and we don't see any indication that he wants to go back and be king. He's literally spending the whole trailer basically saying, I don't know who I'm supposed to be. Well, then I don't know who I'm supposed to root for. I was rooting for Thor the one day to be king of Asgard. Not Thor the hobo who doesn't know what he wants to be. He spent 3 movies knowing exactly who he was supposed to be. Now he's spending a movie saying, I don't know. Some people in the comments have said, oh, but you know what makes sense because he lost everything and now he has to gain, and now that when he lost everything, he now has to decide who he truly is. He didn't lose everything. It was stripped from him and he helped get it back. I'm sorry. I can't see what people are so excited about in this trailer. There's a possibility for it to be good, but based on what I saw, all I see is cringe. All I see is a movie that is trying to force, step down for the woman in role and demasculate the men. Turn this man into a complete joke of who he used to be. Right down to the weird joke about Star-Lord saying, hey, when you feel lost, look in the eyes of the people you love. And Chris Hemsworth tries to look into Star-Lord's eyes. I don't know if that was a gay joke or if that was just some kind of weird friendship joke that I didn't get. It wasn't funny, whatever it was. I just looked at that and thought, what are you trying to say? What is this? It didn't make sense. It just didn't. It just felt so awful. It's showing some great visuals, but I think the reason people are so excited is because they're seeing Chris Hemsworth again. And after the horrible ending he got in Endgame, I think people wanted to see another Chris Hemsworth Thor movie to see if they could bring some integrity back to his character. So I think a lot of people are just in denial. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the minority in this. But based on what I saw, I thought it looked terrible. I thought it looked awful. But that's my opinion. That's my thought. I could be very much wrong. Maybe the movie will come out and it'll do everything I didn't expect. Maybe it'll be a fantastic movie and I'm just completely wrong here. And if so, I'll admit to it. But based on what I saw in the trailer, based on what it showed, that's not Thor. Not the Thor I know. Not the Thor I really came to appreciate and admire through the course of his movie series. That ain't Thor. Just another hero in a long line of Western media characters being butchered by a Hollywood elite that just think that they can take things that we love, shove their own ideals and tired cliches upon them and think that we'll love them, and if we don't, well, we must be the bigots. Regardless, that is all the time I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.